Good afternoon. It is Sunday, and it's Tuesday. On Sunday, it's two things that happen: feeding of the bins, and anything I'm going to do with showing my new bins. These were the wormeries, the ones that I actually set up to do worms to be able to sell. This first bin was the one that I had a lot of cocoons. Took off a lot of baby worms off the top. If you remember, I did that to this bin earlier or late last week, taking off some of the baby worms, putting it into a new bin. So I'm gonna do the same thing again today, and we'll see what we got. Try to keep my head out of the way. So in this bin, I actually put in a corn cob to also help the baby worms kind of come up to it. So we're gonna see what we got underneath there. Yeah, a lot of baby worms in there. I'm gonna dig down right where I did it, and sure enough in there, there's a lot of baby worms and some cocoons. See them wiggling? I'm gonna throw it in the bin I started. I would think when I'm going through this bin, I'm gonna still have a lot of baby worms mixed in. I want to take a little off the top. Don't really want to get that organic matter. I'm gonna leave that to the side, kind of scrape that off a little bit. I'm gonna see what we got in the area. Yeah, there's still a lot of baby worms in that. I'm gonna push that to the side. Not a whole lot. Not like I would have liked to have seen. But there are some, and there are quite a bit of cocoons that I'm seeing. So what I'm going to do with this bin, main purpose is to sift it, turn this bin over, and start to separate the material that isn't broken down and the worms into one, and do this my traditional way of setting up my worm bins. These are the worms, like I said, that I was going to be selling. As we've seen it several times, it was full of nice fat worms. A lot of good product there. There is some biochar in here. Boy, I can just see plenty of cocoons that I like to just grab out. But for the sake of doing this video, I'm gonna just leave them. And I'll be able to go through it after I sift everything out. Once it's all sifted out, I should be able to go back through it and grab all the try to grab some of the cocoons because there's a lot of cocoons in there. So I'm going to start just scraping it to the side a little. Start to sift more of this product. I mean, I'm just seeing cocoons in every bit that I'm taking out. There's still organic matter in there, so I'm just going to reuse that when I put the normal bedding in there, which is the newspaper, coconut coir, white newspaper, and cardboard. That's all I'm going to do is put that right back in, mix it in with the product. This is what I'm getting, and as you can see, it's a little chunky, but it hasn't been screened through the 1/8" screen yet. But there is a lot of cocoons and baby worms on top of that. I will screen it down, but right now I just want to separate all the product. I'm probably gonna have to find something else to put that in, because already it's pretty full. So let's continue going. I mean, yeah, now we're getting down to the bottom, and once again, that's where all the worms, and that's where cocoons are. You can just see the cocoons. Here's corn on the cob, what's left of it. So now we're starting to get to those worms. These are nice sized worms. Nice big worms. And there's a lot of the adult worms with the ring on it. Just gonna get something else to pour what I sifted already into. And you know, this was an experiment just to see what would happen, and I think it was a good experiment. I think the only bad part is when I put the heat, I got the flies. It tricked the larva into thinking it was spring and time to hatch, and that's what happened. So this particular bin had more organic matter in it than the other bin. But what I'm going to do, because there are a lot of adult worms in here, as we all know, those are the ones that usually hatch the cocoons, mate. So I'll probably take some of those and I'll probably throw them into, if I can find 2 or 3 of them, I'll throw them into each of the already bins that are established, just to make sure there's I have a medium in there and we have some adult ones. I mean, as you can see, there's just worms in there. I mean, this is the amount of worms. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to weigh them out and see what the total is for worms, seeing that I'm going to repopulate this by putting it back into into the bin. Just picking out some of the worms that went through. Those are nice sized worms. I mean, here's a nice worm with a ring on it, so it's an adult worm. That would be great to put back in. Put it in the bin. Another bin, one of my active bins to produce. That would be good. So it's going to be hard to tell how many worms are in here, but I'm pretty sure we all could agree that probably when I'm done, based on the size of the worms, there's definitely a couple of pounds of worms in here. I mean, as you see, I mean, there's just worms in there. So that's a nice thing. There's baby worms, adult worms, cocoons. They're all in it. At least this bin has both. Has organic matter. Yeah, that's right. The bottom of this bin has biochar to help soak up, because the bin was going to be sitting so long. I put the biochar at the bottom. And I'm really starting to think, because of what I've seen so far with the biochar and the worms, I think the biochar has something to do with the worms, because for some reason The worms are all the way at the bottom around the biochar. And I also seen that before with one of the other bins that I had that had the biochar at the bottom, that the worms seem to really congregate down there. I don't know if it's the moisture, level, I don't know, but for some reason the worms definitely are happy down there. Once again, I mean, worms. Nice fat worms. So we have a lot of, there's worms that get through. So when I sift them out, sift the castings, I should be able to kind of grab them and get them out, put them in their rightful home. I really want to keep it bin to two baby worms and then regular worms in here. So they make the nice part is they'll make a home right in there. I mean, you can tell they've been just living in there. There's castings inside there. There's some baby worms in there. But I'm just going to put it back in there as more organic matter. We'll then continue breaking it down. Got a little more here to go through. And like I said, I'm just going to put the organic matter back in. So what I'm going to do is try to mix up the regular bedding with the new bedding with the organic matter that I have here. I mean, if you see, I mean, those worms are right down in there where the biochar is. I mean, they're happy in that biochar. That tells me something about worms and biochar. I don't know if it's how the biochar is structure-wise. They're able to eat off of it. They get nutrients out of it. I don't know. But if anybody has any clue on that, why worms seem to love biochar. Why it seems they like to hang around in it. What I'm going to do this time when I do this bin, I'm just going to put a ring of biochar in here as drainage, just in there, and then I'm going to mix what I have for the worms and the bedding. Now, of course, like I said, worms get through the screen because of the size of the screen. So I just try to pick them out, what's on top here. But as I sift through this, I'll get more worms. And worms get through. Now, that is a good amount of castings that I got out, but this is what's left. That's what's left of my of the organic matter that was in there, and the biochar. I mean, there's just worms in there, and those are just worms. And there's a lot of worms in there. There's just worms. So I'm gonna take this and put my bedding in my mix tub, and I'm gonna try to gently mix these worms and the rest of this bedding, that's wood, and this bedding back in, and let that continue. Alright, so that's the worms. There's a lot of good, nice sized worms in here. I would think that there's probably pound of worms, pound and a half of worms in here due to their size. They're just nice sized worms, and there's not that much bedding, organic matter left. Now you can imagine there was probably 6 to 8 inches of organic matter in there, and this is all I have left. If I put it back in that bin and layered it, there's probably only about a pound of organic matter here. I mean, maybe about an inch to possibly 2 inches of organic matter in here. That's just how the red wigglers are, man. They just go right through this stuff. They just love this stuff. And they love to just eat it and tear it up. And if I had a warm garage, had somewhere warm outside of the house, the basement, some of my bins would be exactly that way. Look at the worms inside there, you know. I would use more organic matter every time I clean out a bin, my compost bin, whatever isn't fully broken down. I would actually add that into it I would add this into it along with the bedding, because they just love it and they'll just devour it, and they turn it into black gold. So I mean, there's worms all in that. I'm happy with that. I'm also happy with the way this product looks. Yes, there's some biochar and there's some more worms in there I gotta get out. But this is some nice black gold. Yeah, I can't wait to use this. This will be for my own use. There's tons of it here, and a lot of cocoons. I'm gonna try to pick some of these cocoons out. As I start to sift it down, I'll see the cocoons, and I'll take them out, put them in my hatchery, and just continue to grow the worms and have another bin. All right. This is New Era Gardener NEG, and this is one of the bins that I was using for a wormery for worms to sell. So this is only one. I'm gonna also do the second one today, and I might incorporate it into one bin. I might not have two bins. I might just incorporate it into one bin and kind of go from there. I know there's a lot of cocoons in that one as I was going through that. There's a lot of cocoons in this one. I'm going to try to sift it out. But I mean, here's some of the fine stuff. I mean, some of the fine stuff is just nice and dark. That's worm castings, and it's not, and this stuff isn't super wet. As you can see, it's not wet. It's moist. It has a lot of moisture in it. So that's gonna be some real good stuff. This stuff I probably will mix up to put in my heavy feeders, like my collard greens and my kale in their beds, so that way they get everything they need. All right, once again, New Era Gardener, and this is all the worms from the organic matter bin that I will be selling these worms. Beautiful worms. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm gonna have more fun going through the worm bins, and cleaning it out. All right, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day.